Yeah, that's right. We are back in the back garden shed. Oh my gosh, it is the 50-year storm down here in Cornwall, and the back garden shed is being buffeted somewhat. So hopefully we'll get a fairly clean audio. Many thanks to everybody for your continued support. The channel's now had 1 million views, and we're knocking on the door of 10,000 subscribers. I never thought it'd get so out of hand. So I have a celebratory skate party knees up. I've got my cup of tea here. Hopefully you're settled in with your beverage of choice. I'm perched on a seat because I sort of injured my leg again yesterday. Not the same hamstring. This is something different. I didn't realise that I'd injured it during a session, and then last night it was most uncomfortable, and I was racking my brains as to what I could have done, because I carried on skating to the end and I did take a few tumbles, as is par for the course, but I was racking my brains as to when I did it, and it's a little bit weird. It's like a right leg hip lock up. Oh my goodness. So I've had the massaging thing out. I've got like a new massage gun, which is like an electric drill, and it pulsates an end, and I've been working around with that and doing a bit of yoga and trying to get that leg working. I was miffed because I couldn't go skating today. Anders, hey mate, I love your videos, keep it up. What's up with that deck at the back? It's got the front truck backwards. Oh my gosh, yes, this bad boy here. Let's crack straight into some setup chat. So yeah, this is a set of surf skate trucks. So the idea is it simulates the feel of a surfboard, because this front truck turns in an ultra fast fashion compared to the back truck, so you can get that sort of cut back feel. And I did a video on this one if you want to check it out, reviewing these trucks. They're not as radical as normal surf skate trucks. I think it's fair to say there is a sliding scale of surf skate trucks, and you've got surf skate trucks that really do simulate surf turns, almost like a surf trainer that you would use at a surf school, and they are can only be described as twitchy. And then you've got right down to this sort of thing, which is really a set of loose indies, but just with a different turning radius and everything in between. My surf skate that I really like skating has somewhere in between crazy loose front truck and sort of this sort of more modern skateboard feel, and I really like that one because I can still go backwards a little bit. I think it's fair to say you'd be hard pushed to go backwards on some of the surf trainer style trucks. So started the channel 2 years ago, and I'm now 3 years into learning to skateboard, and the idea of the channel was to motivate me to learn new tricks, because I was finding a year in I was already just stuck in a rut. I was quite happy to be carving and pumping around a bowl and getting some exercise and getting the fear factor of just going on a skateboard in a straight line. But I really wanted to get up on that coping, and every time I went with the best of intentions, I would just make my excuses and leave with my head bowed. So I found that if I videoed the progress and talked about the struggle, it really helped me to motivate myself to at least make one of that trick and get a feel of how that. And those early videos, yeah, they are pretty ropey in the skateboarding department, it's fair to say. Congrats on 1 million views. Have you ever tried skating an 8-wheeler? Oh, great question, because yeah, I have seen an 8-wheel skateboard. So 8 wheels, 4 trucks. It looks mental. My friend Sam had to go on one, and it's fair to say they don't turn the best, but I think you need to rework your style, and the guys I've seen riding them, it's very impressive for the 8-wheeler. Oh my gosh, you can do sort of carve grinds right out of the coping with nothing grinding, because it's like just the wheels go over the coping there. I also did a video recently on the blunt to axle stall, which is actually a really nice one. It's quite committed landing back on the coping, but once you get it, it's like, oh, this is pretty exciting. I did a feeble fakie video recently as well, and I reckon if I can get the pivot fakie, that's knocking right on the door of the blunt fakie. That's just one wheel away, and I've just got to be in the right mood, because I know I'm going to get absolutely worked. And it's just, I have to be in the right frame of mind. If I'm feeling a little bit like, do you know what, I don't fancy falling backwards to the flat 10 times today, then unfortunately the pivot fakie attempts are not going to be in the diary, so to speak. Jimmy Spratt, did you ever get your front side slash grind on the vert? Oh, on the 13.5 foot vert ramp, I haven't. The weird thing is with the slash, I'm a bit rubbish at getting on the back two wheels, basically manualing the board. So for a carving grind, for a 2-truck grind, I'm okay with those. I can do those on a bowl, and I've practiced those, and I feel that I'm quite, that feels like a surf turn to me. And there's something about a bowl as well. I've done front side grinds on a fairly big vert bowl, a sort of 10-foot touch concrete wave sort of size, and pools and things, because it bends around and it gathers you up as you turn around the corner. The wall is constantly coming at you. But I find on a vert ramp, it's a flat wall. So as you go up, it's not that the wall is going away from you, but it sort of is if you're doing that sort of carving motion. So I find it very different. And the front side kick turn is something I've never practiced, because I've always done the front side 2-truck carve or 2-truck grind, or the carving turn in bowls. So I just haven't done an awful lot of the standing on your back manual. So it's I've been practicing it a lot because it's a real weakness of mine. Greetings from Hong Kong. Congratulations on the 1 million views. Oh, nice one, dude. Thank you. Yeah, obviously 1 million views is very humble in terms of YouTube sort of stuff. But to me, it blows my mind, because when I set sail on this adventure, I didn't really have any ambitions or any expectations. It really was a very selfish ploy to fool myself into learning some skateboard tricks, which I felt that I probably wouldn't be able to do without some sort of exterior motivational force. And making and completing the video was a whole thing, because without the make at the end, there was no video. And if you go back to some of the early videos, you'll be treated to some pretty rubbish YouTube, but also you will notice that there is only one make, because that is the only one that I did, and that was just enough to facilitate the making of the video. I learnt about 3 months into the process that was actually quite a bad idea, because just making one trick didn't mean that I'd learnt the trick at all. It mean I'd sort of got lucky once, and I learnt that it was better to try and make, as soon as I made one, try and make loads more in that session, and then come back and do the same again, and keep on doing the same again. Otherwise, I'd come back and it would be like starting from afresh. And because I was trying to do a trick a week in the early days, there wasn't enough time to revisit what I just recorded. So I ended up with a bag of nothing. I didn't, everything requires upkeep. And I found that through my recent injury. I've been getting really stoked, and I think people might be confused on my Instagram, because I've been, excited about posting up a video of doing a feeble stall on the mini ramp, which I haven't done for like 3 months because my hamstring's been playing up. And it was like, see if I can get that back, and a bit of a wrestle and a tussle. And you put it up, and then it's like this fairly basic trick. But I've really enjoyed it, and I was pretty excited. So yeah, I think coming back from and reclaiming the tricks has been pretty exciting. And as I've been doing that, I've been trying to tart them up a bit and do them a bit proper. Because another thing I've been finding with the skateboard tricks is that you can do them in a variety of in a tier of weight, like the bottom being, it is sort of the trick, but it's all done a bit rubbish. And then as you go up, eventually there's a top way to do the trick, which is the most dangerous, most stylish way that you can possibly do that trick, with all of the little nuances and features put in, and it's almost like a completely different trick. And also the type of ramp that I try to do it on seems to make a lot of difference. I've got like a sliding tier scale of ramps, and the first one I try it on is my little mini ramp that's very similar to the one I had in the back garden, and I try to get it on there because it's like, it's the sort of nicest of all things. It's got like a skate-like surface, so if I do go a cropper on it, I don't I sort of slide across the flat bottom. I don't seem to hurt myself too much. And also it's not very tall, so again, if I fall from the cope into the flat, it's not an awfully long way to go. The next step up from that would be the mini ramp at Mount Hawk, which also features in the video. That's 5 foot, but that one's a lot steeper. But I just love that ramp. I love everything. It's just a brilliantly made ramp. It's got great coping set, and and all that sort of thing. And then the next one up from that would be the pool coping, concrete waves pool. And I find that trying to get the trick on pool coping is another different thing, the concrete coping. And I think once I've got that, get it on a 7-foot section, and I feel that I've actually got the trick, and then starts getting the vert ramp and realise there's another whole different world to do that trick again. Congrats on the milestone, John. Love your channel. This is Tyrone. Keep them coming. What deck do you plan on skating next? Another reissue. It's a great question, Tyrone. I've just been skating the Kendall Snake lately. That's all I've been skating. I've been loving it. And I got the Kendall Atomic Man, which I did a review on recently, and I've been skating that one because it's got more nose. For some reason, I don't like the feel as much. It's a different concave and slightly different outline and plan shape, and I just don't enjoy it as much as the Snake. So I've been skating the Snake and getting on reasonably well, and I've got the Andy Anderson deck, which I use for my vert ramp setup, and most of my skate, it's been the 50-year storm for about 3 months down here in Cornwall. So I've had a splattering of outdoor sessions. If I go to the little mini ramp, which I like to do, I try to learn something new. And I've got a little mini ramp set up with 55mm wheels and an Anderson deck for that ramp. And then if I go to the indoor skate park at Mount Ork, I'll take my Snake to try the mini ramp stuff. And then I'll take my vert ramp board, which has to be fairly specific because that ramp is fast. You know, it's 13.5 foot of woo-hoo-hoo. So you have to have the tight trucks and the business. And yeah, I've got bored pretty quick of continually tightening my trucks and loosening my trucks on one board. Okay, so I got a question from one of the Patreons, and that's right, you could become a Patreon of the channel, and gives you access to the Discord. And Joe has contacted me on the Discord with a question for tonight, and that is that he's noticed that I'm wearing less protective gear in some of the videos, and was there a reason for that? Was it a conscious decision, or are there any advantages? I guess I can talk a little bit about pads. Obviously it's personal preference, and one thing that is pretty much non-negotiable for me is the helmet. I made a little bit of a deal with the missus that I'd always wear a helmet, and it's fair cop really, because I'm a family man with 2 nippers, and I don't think not wearing a helmet would be the best policy. Also, I'm still not that experienced at skating, and regardless of what's happening, even if I think I'm skating within my limits, there is always a chance of a freak come off the board. And the one that I fear the most is putting my foot back on the board once I've stepped off the board, because that can lead to a loop out and a bang of the head regardless. The reason for the reducing of the pads, especially on the mini ramps, and that's really where I'm starting to ride a little bit freer, is because I'm 3 years into it now, and I feel I've got a bit more experience at what to expect when it goes wrong. And when I skate without the pads, I tend to only do the tricks that I feel really quite confident at. Not so much confident I'm going to make, but definitely confident that I know what will happen and how to get out of it and run out of it and be safe in that respect. So I quite enjoy the feel and the freedom of no pads, and I definitely skate differently without the pads. It's definitely a different psychological feeling. It definitely works for me at this stage. I wouldn't have recommended it to me in the early stages, because I was coming a cropper left, right and centre, and I didn't know how to fall was the main thing. So I was falling off in very awkward ways that pads really helped me with. Now I like to think I've got the hang of falling a bit more, and I can sort of, you know, flip round on the back and slide out and do all those things. But there's still going to be that freak accident, and still going to be that every time I come a cropper, I'm like, oh, I wish I was wearing my pads then. Being a guitar player for a living, I am very worried about my wrists. So I often wear wrist guards. And I look around the skate park, and if there's a very good skateboarder also wearing wrist guards, I think, oh, they're either an artist or a musician or something, because they're also concerned about missing a bit of, you know, giggage. Christopher is saying stretching, question mark. Yeah, did a video a little while back where the missus did a bit of yoga with me, and I do like the yoga. I'm lucky that the missus is a yoga instructor, and she shows me some moves. And I've also, the YouTube is awash with the yoga channels, so you can pick your flavour on there. And I usually try and do 10 or 15 minutes of yoga as part of my daily routine, and that's in the vain hope of trying to remain remotely flexible and stretchy. And I like to try and, get a bit warm. I do a few press-ups and a bit of stretching out the legs before I start the session. And then afterwards I've got my massage gun, and also I try and do a few stretches. I find I get very tight in the quads and get very tight in the calves, probably just for a lack of technique or just because that's the muscles you use most when you're skating. But yeah, I've really struggled to keep those loose. They're constantly fatigued because I like to skate as much as I can for as long as I can. I think I'm going down. I think my chair is going down. I've perched on a chair just because I hurt my leg. I thought it might be a good idea rather than standing up for it. But it's like some sort of comedy sketch, some sort of old 70s British comedy sketch where the bloke just keeps going down till eventually it's just a set of eyes. Bob Weaver, have you ever tried skateboard slalom? I reckon I could definitely come a cropper trying skateboard slalom. If I'm thinking the right thing, which is going around cones at a breakneck speed, Tony Alva style, I reckon the only thing I can manage about skateboard slalom is the outfit. I would have no problems putting on an Evel Knievel outfit. But then I think that would be the only similarity I'd have with a slalom skateboarder. I've got this. I guess this is pretty slalom-y. This is my 70s deck, my Pro-Am Pure Gold. And I was thinking of taking this one to the Play in Place original 70s skate park, Pro-Am Pure Gold. And it's got the little, I mean, these are 70s style trucks in so much as they look a little bit more like a roller skate truck than a real truck. But they are actually ripped off of a penny skateboard. They're very good. They're very good trucks and very good wheels, actually. But they're very similar to the sort of thing. I actually borrowed an original set of lasers with an original set of 70s wheels, and I realised that they're pretty much the same as these. So I thought, well, I'm not going to waste loads of money on some vintage kit when I could get these for not too much. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. But I mean, it feels remarkably different because there's no concave. I mean, look at that tail kick. there is zero pocket there. There's no nose on it. And yeah, when my foot is on that tail, you can be under no illusion that there is not a lot of tail. Oh, Richie Hopkins, missing you in Bournemouth, dude. You getting to check out that super new indoor concrete park in Kent. Yeah, anybody wants to check out the concrete park in Kent, Mavericks have made one, and it's a bespoke one made in a multi-storey. It's not a multi-storey car park, it literally is a multi-storey skate park, but made in a similar way to one might make a multi-storey car park. So the concrete is all set in, but when you're below the bowl in the level below, it just looks like the relief of a bowl. It's just dangling like the bottom of a bowl in a bowl shape. It's incredible, and that's down there in Kent. So I can't wait to go down there and skate that. And the pool that they've made there looks gnarly, like proper steep transitions. But I think just due to COVID and everything, it's taken a little longer than they thought. But I think it's almost there in terms of being able to go and have a look. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you next time. Oh, not half. Right, let's see if we can make this stop. This is a bit that I always struggle with.